United are back up and running. We might have felt a little bit like, we might have given up a little bit. I'd never suggest that. I'd never point a finger at a player. I couldn't, to be honest with you. I couldn't put it on there, but I felt today we went from being this level, probably down here, to taking it, off the camera down here and really step things up and get up here, because I've got every single one of the players put their heart and soul, and honestly, every single one of those players meant and sort of fought like they meant it. They put 100% their passion on that line there, and there was positives coming out of my neck. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast, and finally, and we can breathe, because Oxford United have got all 3 points in the league, in League 1, against MK DONS. Absolutely fantastic for Manchester United fans as well. Rashford has just scored for you in the Champions League as I'm recording this as well. Everything's going, crazy in football, but Oxford United have got 3 points. It's happened. It is possible. Oxford United can get 3 points in League 1. It is a possibility. It is something that Oxford United are able to do, and we don't just do it, in any old way. We have to be different. We have to do it in such a spectacular way. Not so much spectacular, difficult but entertaining way is probably the best way of putting it. But we have done it. Oxford United are back up and running. The second win of the season. The live table we can bring up. I'm not embarrassed to say that, I'm not embarrassed to open the table here on the podcast. I have been for the last, the other 4 games of the 5 before this game. But we can do it today. Oxford United are off the bottom of the table. We're just off the bottom. Not just. We're outside the relegation zone now. We're 20th in the league, but we're up and running. Of course, we're 1 game behind a lot of teams in this division as well. That is something that we've got to remember. There's something that we've got to remember. We are behind a few teams in this division. Obviously, so we're on 6 points with a -4 goal difference, of course. However, with 3 points against Swindon, who are now 19th and we're 20th, so it's not just a going to be an interesting one on Saturday because of that. Because just because it's a derby, it's always going to be very difficult in league position as well, coming in with the exact same points, the exact same goal difference, them playing just 1 more game than us. But it is a huge game next week. But let's talk about this one. That's what we're here for. MK Dons fans, if you're here and you've come onto this episode of the podcast, I welcome you. We're not biased too much on the podcast, but we are going to analyse the game. We're not going to sit here and say Oxford United are the best team in the world, and MK Dons are horrific and we outplay them. I watched this game, and this is literally about 20 minutes after the game I'm recording this, or a bit more. I wanted to get this recorded the day of because I wanted to get this out as quickly as possible. I'm probably not going to release it tonight because I'm not going to have time to edit it, render, blah, 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 upload, and I don't want to upload it at 1 o'clock in the morning, for example. Otherwise, people won't be able to do that. I don't want to sort of render it on an awful definition, for example, quality. Obviously, then I want quality is obviously something really, really big on the podcast. I wouldn't want to just render it on an awful quality just to get it out for the sake of it. I want to get the best quality content, quality content of the podcast. If that means it's the day later, I'm sorry, I apologise, but I want the best content for you. But anyway, let's crack on this game as well. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, the Young Fan Podcast YouTube channel, what are you doing? We're on 100 subscribers, or we're not on 100 subscribers. We want to get 100 subscribers for the end of the year. We're currently on 92 subscribers. I actually uploaded the preview the day of. I do apologise for that. I don't normally do the day of previews. I understand that the numbers of that probably won't do as well because it's the day of, and now we're bringing this out pretty much. So if you do come on the podcast, you probably want to watch now the match reaction instead of the match preview, understandably. But we don't just talk about the preview as well in that episode. We do talk about lots of other things as well. But anyway, let's crack on with this match reaction now. The same day, match preview and reaction on the same day. What is going on? This is crazy, but it's a positive one. And a lot of people have said, Jack, you're negative. This is a negative podcast. You love losing. You love Oxford losing because it means you can moan. No. This is what we're all about. We're all about Oxford United getting where we know they can be. We know that they can be up there. I doubted myself. I doubted the team. Of course I did, because we didn't look great, but this is something else. The performance today was hard, fought out, but it was a good performance at the end of it. We scored 3 goals, we conceded 2, but we scored 3 goals. We spoke about it before. If we were going to win a game this season like this, it was going to be a 3-2 game because we're going to concede goals. We know we are. Defensively, we have, it's not the defence still isn't 100% there. 2 goals conceded. You very rarely concede 2 goals. Well, not very rarely, but when you do concede 2 goals, it's difficult to win the game still with 3. But we've done it. And we've beaten them 3-2. 3 goals. Taylor scoring, Shodipo scoring, of course, Long scoring as well. In the wrong order. It's actually Taylor, Long, and then Shodipo. You're probably thinking, who's Shodipo? He's not. He's not an Oxford player. I've never heard of him. He is obviously. Very quick turnaround. We signed him on Friday, a deadline day, literally just before the 5 p.m. EFL deadline. Couldn't play on Saturday because obviously he was past midday on the deadline day, but he could play today. He came on, and what a substitution that man is. I'm sure he'll be starting some games as well this season. I've got no doubt about that. He looks quality. He looks top draw. He looks top class. He looks championship quality 100%, and he's playing in League One for Oxford United. It's things you love to see, and that finish as well was top quality. That's not just any League One finish. That is a championship finish. Really, really impressive stuff. Of course, we'll come on to that as well. Taylor's goal was in the 6th minute. Jerome then equalised in the 11th minute, so our lead only was able to hold on for 5 minutes. It does not matter there though. In the second half, it was 1-1 at half time. Second half, 58th minute, Sammy Long, and no boy deserves that goal more than Sam Long. I tell you, he's been unbelievable this season. Maybe not unbelievable in performance. I have sort of said a few things about Sam Long that could be a little bit, and I've never criticised Sam Long. I've always sort of said, he's not a left back. I prefer him playing right back and all this sort of thing. But this player deserves a goal more than anybody. He has been such help for Oxford United in the last 10 years of his career, or whatever it is. But in the start of the season, he's probably done more than he has done his entire Oxford United career. He's literally played in every single position down that back line other than goalkeeper. Goalkeeper isn't the back line, but I guess in the defensive half of the team. He's played left back, he's played right back, and he came on as centre back today. Of course, Atkinson got injured again, which is a bit of a blow, is a worry. We'll hopefully have some more information on that in the next few days or even in the next few hours. Hopefully it's positive news. Hopefully it was just, it's not feeling great. It is the groin again. It's not as bad as it was before. It's just precaution. Bring him off. He's fit for Saturday. The big game, of course, against Swindon. But anyway, enough about that. We'll come on to that a little bit more in the episode of the podcast in a bit. But the game was great. The game was absolutely fantastic. I thought that every single one of the players put their heart and soul, and honestly, every single one of those players meant and sort of fought like they meant it. They put 100% their passion on that line there, and there was positives coming out of my neck. I've got a whole list of positives and a whole list of good things that Oxford United did. There's a few negatives, but when you win a game 3-2 in this magnitude, it's such an important win. This is, I can't stress enough. If this finished 2-2 or 1-1, this would feel like a defeat. But this is a 3-2 win for Oxford United. An MK Dons side that are not a bad side. They are not a bad side whatsoever. I don't want people to take this the wrong way. MK Dons are playing a very good brand of football. It did get them into a few issues at times, but generally they play a very, very attractive style of football under the manager and under the staff there. Really, really good. Playing it out from the back. That is confidence. You've got to have some real confidence to do that. We do that, but they've got a sweeper keeper that was playing as a centre half at times. And it works and it doesn't work. We sort of, as the game went on, we sort of read it as it came on. It became a little bit predictable. And we probably should have scored from it, to be honest with you. There was a few occasions where we probably could have had a chance to score on another day. We would have done. But, there's been games where we've, had 28, 30 shots or whatever and haven't scored a goal, just scored one. And today we were clinical. Today we took chances, 3-2. Taylor, as well, as a good finisher. Poacher in the box, Fox in the box, as people call it. Matty Taylor in the box. That's a great finish after 6 minutes. McGuane bursting through, the power, the strength of McGuane. Playing on the left side, a bit of a different role for McGuane today, but I like it. I like what Carl Robinson's done there. The power, the strength, the way he moved into that team. That was a really good tactical move from Carl Robinson. A lot of people have spoken about it, but I liked what he did there. They played with sort of the wing back, 3 at the back, wing back, that we sort of struggled against this season, to be honest with you. A lot of teams have played with that formation this season. We've stick with the 4 back, but a lot of teams have played sort of the 3 back, 5 back sort of variation type of formation. But having McGuane playing on that side was really, really good for that, because he could drive. He could really, really drive the defence. It stretched out as well, because when you play a 3 at the back, their wing back, I think it was their right wing back, was almost playing as a right midfielder. He was very, very high up. He very rarely helped out the right centre back, which obviously dragged the right centre back out because he had to cover McGuane, who was causing problems and having a real field day out on that left hand side. And obviously then it pushed him, the right centre back, to push out the right onto the right side. And then obviously the whole back line had to shift, and it created space on the other side. Or if they didn't shift, it obviously then created a big gap gap in the middle for Taylor to get in there and for Sykes to drive in there. So a really, really good move, a clever move from Carl Robinson to play McGuane out there. Whether or not that was completely intentional, I'll go with it was being intentional. If it wasn't, then Carl Robinson, I've just sorted you out big time there with a reason why it should be intentional, because that was top quality. I'm really, really impressed with that. And even if it wasn't intentional, even if that wasn't the case, maybe it just was, McGuane was to get into the team, but we thought Sykes would be better in midfield, then I think that was very, very clever. I thought that was really, really good, and it really worked well. I think we might have found a new little thing there with McGuane playing on that right-hand side. We do tend to do that at Oxford. We tend to sort of shift players that play quite central and shift them out on wide. Sykes came in as a centre midfielder. He's not, he does spend a lot of the time out on the wing. Same with Dan Agee, brought him as a striker, and he sort of plays a lot of him out on the right and the left. So, we do tend to sort of, end up training our players as playing on the right. Same you could argue with Sean Clare and Chris Cadden. Sean Clare and Chris Cadden in Scotland play quite central roles in midfield, and they've sort of been dragged out to be playing right backs. So I think we do tend to do that well, and Carlson likes doing that. But it worked today. It does work. Some work for team players better than others, but I think it worked really, really well for Marcus McGuane today. Really, really impressed with that. But yeah, MK Dons played at the back, dangerous at times. They had a very, very much of a sweeper keeper, but they had some really effective players as well. I thought their right centre back that was marking McGuane was really, really quality. I thought it was really, really good as well. I thought Taylor pressed really well as well. Really, really impressed with Taylor. We got the old Taylor back, and I've given him man of the match. Spoiler for player ratings, he is been given man of the match because he was so impressive. He was pinning the defence back. When you've got a defence that wants to play very high, and you've got a very sort of high line as a defence, and things like that, you want a centre forward that's going to really pin that defence back. Because if you let that defence drift forward, you get the whole team is being pushed back. Everyone's getting pushed back then, and then you sort of get South in trouble when you're trying to defend. But if you've got a real forward front line, and especially like a striker that's really dictating in a formation of a triangle, really dictating the way you want to press, you've got to press hard. You've got to press with some, with real meaning. And Matty Taylor did that today. I was really, really impressed with that. Really quick, really effective, he really, really worked hard today. That's what we needed. We needed players that are going to work hard. We needed players that are going to put their body on the line and say, I'm getting a bit tired, but we needed these 3 points. I'm going to work that extra piece today, and that's what I feel like we might have missed a little bit. I feel like some games this season, we might have felt a little bit like, we might have given up a little bit. I'd never suggest that. I'd never point a finger at a player. Or I couldn't, to be honest with you. I couldn't put it on there. But I felt today we went from being this level, probably down here, to be able to taking it, off the camera down here and really step things up and get up here. Because I've asked my players and asked the players, and as fans we've asked the players to take it to the next step today, and today they did just that. Really, really impressed. I said in the match preview, we need to take the level up there. We really need to start performing today. It's a must win, and we certainly did that today. And just saying, the predicted lineup was pretty much identical, other than Sykes coming in for Agee. Other than that, identical lineup. And I'm really, really glad Marcus McGuane started today, and I definitely think he warranted a place in this side. Really, really impressed with him today, and I really, really enjoyed that as well. But Marcus McGuane, I said, really good on the ball. So my note on him, really quick and effective, powerful down the wing. Might a new position for him potentially there as well. Definitely, Marcus McGuane was a standout for me. He hasn't got man of the match, but he definitely stood out as a player that was playing top quality and that really, really stood out in that side today. But many did, but he was great. I've written down here, we have been missing Gorin. I literally didn't even explain that. I just put exclamation marks next to that. And I think that sort of is just it. I mean, how much we missed Gorin is unbelievable, to be honest with you. How much we've missed him. Having him back in this team today it's literally like taking out such an important ingredient to a recipe. You take this player out of it, it doesn't taste as good. You take Gorin out of it, we don't play as well. That is just facts. You can put Kelly in, and I like Kelly, but he's not a Gorin. He's not Gorin. I would probably prefer Kelly playing up the pitch a little bit and a bit more attacking midfield. That's what I think Kelly's best at. But today, Gorin was just fantastic. I absolutely loved him. Just the way that he just puts in that tackle. We can give away a few fouls, but I don't mind it with Gorin. I don't, because he really wants it. He gives his heart and soul on that team. If things aren't going well, Gorin just puts a foot in. It might be a foul, but I don't care. If you put a foot in and unless it's a silly foul. I know he has sort of been a subject to somebody that does tend to do fouls in some pretty ridiculous areas at times that have cost us. But when you put a tackling like Gorin does, that changes the game, because you've got a player there that doesn't really want to get near him. When you've got a player like Gorin protecting that back four that don't want to get near him, you cause problems. And Gorin did just that today. He absolutely armied that back four. We've lost Dickey, and some have said we've lost the leadership. We've lost a player that can really sort of, what's the word? I guess, there is a word for it, and I've completely lost it, but it'll come to me. When you sort of really, lead, I guess, I'm going to use that for now, but lead that back four, really, really sort of, be a leader in that back four and organise, that's the word I was saying, organise that back four. And what Gorin's done is really, really clever, he's sat in front of there and he's almost done that Dickey leadership organising role for them, to be honest with you. I'm sure Moore will do it, but and I'm sure Long can do it as well. I'm sure Axon will grow into doing that as well, but Gorin knows what it means. Gorin knows that if you sit in front of there, you can protect him. Kelly, I like Kelly. I really, really do like Kelly. I really do like him. And I think if you play him further up the pitch as well, he can be really something that can offer something definitely more going forward. But what Gorin can do in that CDM position is great. He just protects it. He's a tall lad. He's a strong lad. He gets stuck in, very tenacious. And he can sit in front of that back line and do bits, which I think is really, really good for Gorin. I think breaking up that play as well. The first goal, if you look really, really cleverly, I've actually watched the goal back again on when you can sort of get the highlight feature on iFollow. What you can actually see is the actual move started from Gorin breaking up the play, which I don't think Kelly does as well. I think Kelly can do it, but Gorin, when he is fit, when he's on the game, and he very rarely gets injured, touch wood, he doesn't get injured again. I am touching the wood. I've got a wooden desk in front of me. I'm touching it. I'm praying that he does not get injured, because Gorin in this team can change it. He dictates everything. He does dictate everything. We're missing Brannigan. That midfield. But Gorin, when Brannigan's fit as well and he's back in that midfield, he's not going to be a walk in the park for Brannigan. Ford and Sykes did so well today. Brannigan's not going to walk into that team. I think he will anyway, because it's Brannigan. But it's not going to be easy for Carl Robinson to choose now, because he's got Gorin, who you can't drop. You cannot drop Gorin. Today just showed how much of a missing piece of the puzzle Gorin is to this team. And I know it's easy with one, and would I be saying this if we lost, if it is Gorin important? I probably would be, because Gorin was fantastic today. He broke everything up. He's such an important player for Oxford United. He was last season. A few people criticised him at times last season, Gorin, a bit clumsy at times. I'm not gonna lie. When I first sort of was introduced to Gorin when he came here, I was a little bit like, we haven't had a player like that before. We haven't had a player that's going to get stuck in and cause problems. And I'm really, really happy that Gorin did that as well. I was happy for Long, like I said, about the goal as well. A championship finish from Shodipo as well. Fantastic debut for him. Looks lively. Turns out to be an important goal as well. Ford looks solid. The dead ball in for the goal was top class, world class, I'd say. That Ford ball in, he put it in, it whipped right in front of the goalkeeper's eyes and goalkeeper's face. He didn't know what to do. He was going forward, he was going backwards, all over the shop. Great ball in, and Log nods it in, and I was really, really happy with that as well. Henry was very, very decent, didn't do anything wrong. Really powerful player, as we know. He was at his best again today. Looks much better defensively. We did look much better defensively. Not all the time. Claire looked a little bit dodgy at times, and he got lost a bit for the second goal, for the equaliser, for their first goal, the second goal of the game. But I think after that, Claire grew into the game, grew, and he turned out to be very, very good as well. MK analysis really, really quickly. Like I said, I thought they did really well. I think they could have had a player sent off. I think MK Dons fans, if you're watching this as well, if you've watched the game as well, and if you see it again, I don't know how your player stayed on the pitch. Harvey, did a little rabbit punch to the back of the air to Sean Clear. I did a bit of history there. I did hear they both played in Scotland at the same time, so I don't know if there was something there going on, but he literally punched Claire at the back of the head, which was mental. I am going to look at the other side of the story as well, because I understand you will have another side of the story, which obviously some might argue that Henry was had sort of had that trailing arm in the first half, but he did get booked for that, and that Harvey sort of incident didn't even get looked at, but or wasn't even seen. So yeah, but Slyke was much better tonight, looked top quality. Let's move on to the player ratings. Eastwood's got himself a 6, didn't do anything wrong today, he was pretty solid. Eastwood collected the ball very well, I was happy with him dictating the box. Claire's got himself a 6. If he played what he did in the second half, he did the whole in the first half and didn't go missing for the equaliser, I'd probably give him a 7 today. I was really, really impressed at times with him. Moore 7, great in the air. Moore, he was really, really solid today. Atkinson 7 before he came off. I thought he had a really, really good game. 7 for you. Ruffles 6, didn't see as much, but really, really solid. I was really happy with Ruffles. 6 for him. Gorin, of course, getting himself a 7. He's always a 7, man. Ford 8 today. Ford was great, that dead ball delivering, really, really solid. You know, Ford's reinvented his career at Oxford United, which is unbelievable. So happy for him. Sykes got himself a 7. I thought it was really, really good. Back to his best, that dribbling and that quick feet that we all know and love from Sykes. Really impressed with him. Marcus O'Grain's got himself a 7. Really happy with his performance. And Taylor's getting my man of the match. 8 for him. Getting a goal, pressing well, pinning them back. Ultimately, without Taylor pinning that team back, I think it could have been a very different story. Henry's got himself a 7. And we don't normally do the substitutes, but I think we've got it today. Shadipo, 7 out of 10 for him. That is a quality finish. I couldn't really give him anything higher than a 7. He's only on the pitch for about 5 minutes, but Shadipo with that goal, and such an important goal as well. It turned out to be a huge goal in that game. If he hadn't got that, we'd have come out with this point. So happy with Shadipo's goal. Adja given a 5. He should have scored that. I don't know what he was doing, whether or not it was an open goal. He rushed out the goalkeeper. We beat it to his man. McGuane beat the goalkeeper, cut it back, an open goal nearly, and Adja couldn't find the net. But Shadipo literally seconds after scored that as goal as well. So I was really, really happy with that. And Long has got himself an 8, of course. Came on for the injured Rob Atkinson, but he got himself a goal as well, and he deserves it, like I've said, as well. What do you think of the game? Leave a comment down below. DM me on the Instagram at the Young Fan Podcast as well. Remember, next November we are going to be supporting Josh and the millions of people across the UK and across the world. I'm not sure if it's a worldwide charity. I want to say I don't know. I'm guessing it is. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. If it's not, let's make it worldwide. The Movember, of course, charity supporting men with obviously testicular cancer, suicide prevention, and prostate cancer as well, or supporting that charity next month. So if you could donate, that would be unbelievable. The donation link is in the description down below. Supporting a good friend of mine who is doing such a fantastic thing, growing out a moustache, to showing support and work for mental health and suicide prevention, prostate cancer next month, which is absolutely fantastic. A great cause to stop something very, very important that should be made very much aware. So thank you very much, Josh, for letting us support it with you, and using your link for sure as well. But anyway, thank you very much for listening to this episode of the podcast. A very positive episode of the podcast. I've missed it. I've been so happy to make a positive episode of the podcast. We're on the road to 100 subscribers for live watch along the live episode of the podcast in 2021. If you're new to this, leave a like, and of course subscribe as well. We're on the road to 100. We're currently on 92. 8 more subscribers of you, and we will be flying. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the podcast. I've been Jack. This has been the Young Fan Podcast, and I'll see you later.